Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, so in November Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat, we have reached the first question and answer session. We have received a couple of written questions. We'll start the session with written questions.
Avasarai Bhante. We have received 5 reports today.
Right.
Report number 1, Venerable Bhante. After about 20 minutes of seated meditation, my legs go numb and it becomes very uncomfortable. Should I try to hold the pose for as long as possible or start meditating seated on a chair instead of sitting on a cushion? Thank you.
After how long? 20 minutes. I mean, if you are a beginner, that's fine. So basically, after 20 minutes, it's quite obvious that you might have to change the posture because you are not used to the posture. Because this posture you can actually again and again season in a way. At the beginning, you can only probably 20 minutes. Maybe after about week or 2 weeks, you can extend it to another 25 minutes. So altogether 25 minutes. Maybe about a month later, maybe again 30 minutes. So likewise, you can stretch it. By the way, I mean, don't immediately change. Say if you feel and you are going through some pain after 20 minutes, just be patient with it for about 1 or 2 minutes and then slowly change the posture. And when you are changing the posture, there are different ways that you can do it. Not immediately changing it so that you are losing the developed mindfulness, developed concentration. Rather, you can keep your attention onto the place where the, significant pain is available. Most prominent pain is available. And while keeping attention there, you can change the posture. So then you are in a way learning how that particular pain is behaving as you change the posture. That would be another experience for you. Or else, assume that you are practicing Anapanasati, rising and falling, whatever it is. So if you don't want to lose the attention towards that primary object, since you have developed fair amount of concentration towards that with a lot of effort, since you don't need to lose it, you can keep it there. And as a background event, you can change the posture slowly without disturbing the primary object. So these are small things, different ways that you can handle it. And no point, no point of holding a very painful posture with a lot of effort. Then it will be difficult and you may get stressed up. So that is not intended. Rather, you can simply maintain the posture as much as possible without any stress. And once you feel it is unbearable, just maintain another 1 minute and just change the posture. Yeah.
Report number 2, Avasarai Venerable Bhante. Sitting meditation. Established awareness of posture followed by a body scan. Noticed areas that felt pain or tightness. Then I started focusing on the breath, in, out, in, out. I noticed I would switch from breath to thoughts. At that point, re-established awareness on breath and continued like this. Later, I reflected and realized how peaceful it was to simply helter-skelter. Walking meditation. Established awareness of the posture and then started noting left, right foot. Naturally, awareness moved to the sensations arising and passing as the sole of the foot touched the sand. Noticed how quickly the sensations arose and passed as different parts of the sole touched the sand when moving forward. Next, I made a determination to look at the body as a skeleton. Seeing that the body is held upright because of the skeleton, I noted this as Atti. After some time, I realized I was switching for Attika Sanya to the sensations on the sole of the foot. Should I keep only one object of meditation, or is this between two objects? Okay, if this changing between two objects is okay, please advise.
Yeah, I mean, changing with two objects would be difficult at the beginning, but later when you are fairly competent, you can do it. But for the time being, I feel you better continue with the sensations. And again, I mean, if you are getting this attika sanya naturally, that is also can be a added advantage. But don't try to purposely take it, by the way. If it is naturally coming, then between these two, probably you can select one. Say you are able to recognize various sensations, and at the same time you can penetrate the skin, flesh, and you can see the skeleton. So these are two options then. But I basically prefer going with sensations rather than going for the visualized skeleton. Actually, there are ways. Once you are able to recognize the skeleton and you can maintain some attention to that, later using, I mean, if you want to go through a lot of deep concentrations using samatha, then actually you can make use of the skeleton. So that is another side. And again, even if you want to practice Vipassana, from this you can extract the, Patavi Dhatu, the earth element, and that is also another method available, but little complicated. But directly experiencing, say, hardness, roughness, smoothness, tightness, stiffness, say, say, heat, cold. I mean, these are very direct, very, very, very quite, I mean, anyone can do it. And straightforward. You can easily recognize those sensations or the element characteristics. And that is much easier and no complications. So therefore, I basically prefer going with that method. There are kind of a straight method. You are able to recognize all these different sensations, element characteristics, and you are moving along with that, and it will take you to a really fair depth it will take you. And switching it between that and the skeleton would be little difficult and again little complicated, and you are unnecessarily making the path little complicated. So may I know who has written it? Yuan? I see. So, I think last time when you were talking, as far as I can remember, weren't you able to establish mindfulness without any of these? Only on the second day you can do it. Right.
There was no force as such, Venerable Bhante.
Yeah.
But maybe the knowledge is also there now, so little, as you said, complicated. So that's why I want to know which one to pick.
Knowledge in the sense, I mean...
like I've heard of this and that kind of thing. But it's not totally forced either.
Right. But this one is much better. I mean, just go along with the direct experience, that is sensations, say hardness, softness, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And naturally, if you can recognize how they appear and disappear, and ultimately you are, say, they all disappear,
yes,
and you can come to a level, nothing is there.
Yes.
So that is a smooth path.
Yes.
No any obstacles, no any complications. That would be much better.
You mean as the sensations arise and pass, there is
you are
nothing
keeping
left
attention to
of
them.
that.
You are simply keeping attention to them, how they come and go.
Yes.
And that actually gives some kind of an understanding.
Yes.
You know, why we doing all this is to develop wisdom.
Yes.
So once we have some amount of concentration, so we are keeping that attention to various different phenomena and we are observing their behavior. So based on that, their behavior, we are learning in a way.
Yes.
Actually, the mind is learning. Actually,
Yes.
it is not that we, I mean, as a person learning, but the mind become more and more knowledgeable about what's really going on.
Yes.
And automatically then as it develops wisdom, so it's a dispassion arise,
Yes.
disenchantment arise,
Yes.
and ultimately letting go happens.
Right.
So if that, if we are adding too many complicated parts in between, then we are hindering the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep it simple, therefore.
Thank you. Thero
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sarma.
Report number 3. In walking meditation, should I pay attention to the motion of the leg joints that happens in between transition of sensation from one foot to the other?
If you can do it, that's all right. So at the, different things are there. Say how weight transfers from one foot to the other. That is one thing. And when it is touching the ground, you may feel something to your heels, to your middle part of the sole, and then to the fingers. As you raise it up, there may be more feelings. So there's a rich area available. More and more your attention is more refined. You can maintain your attention for a long time. Then all these different information would be available to you, and no harm. You can make use of all these different details. In Vipassana there is no any restriction telling only this area you need to focus, because all are conditioned phenomena, and you can whatever prominent. So that is the rule. Whatever is prominent, you can pay your attention. Try to observe their true behavior. With that, actually we are learning.
Report number 4. Venerable Bhante, I have been practicing for few years continuously. The biggest issue I am facing is sleepiness during sitting meditation. My meditation object is rise and fall of the abdomen. It is now very subtle, and many thoughts arise during meditation and almost always fall asleep. Most of the time, my family members mention that I am nodding off. I always do a walking meditation before each sitting. Please advise.
Yeah, so are you in the, away from your meditation, say apart from your meditation, what are you doing? Are you simply spending time without much responsibilities, or are you highly occupied with lot of responsibility, too many works? May I know who has written it? No? Nobody? It's you?
It was written on behalf of someone who wanted it.
The thing is, it depends actually. If a person is really involved with so many activities, and then somehow trying to continue the meditation as well, then as we discussed early in the morning, when we are paying attention to this kind of very ordinary type of object, so falling asleep becomes quite natural. But on the other hand, slowly you are getting used to this process, and your daily activities are also combined with mindfulness, and you are not involved with very heavy mental activities, thinking, proliferating, designing, writing, imagining. So these are very consuming, really burden to the mind. Other than those things, suppose you are simply doing, farming, sweeping. Problem is nowadays people are not doing those, no? They all are doing either computing, writing, and all these things. Really, even myself doing it, but really consumes the mental energy. So, if your main task is that, later, and if you are into meditation, so switching between that really distracted, brain-oriented task to this sort of very relaxed task is a little difficult, because here more involvement is there, and here more relaxed attention is there. So in the second thing, what we are practicing, then you fall asleep. So you need to practice. Solution is the practice in a way. Again and again you are doing it so that your mind maintains some kind of a sensitivity. Mind become more and more mindful, even with the ordinary activities. Then you are not falling asleep. So I simply can say, continue the practice, and as you can understand, probably you can involve more with the walking meditation than in sitting. So then you can refine your mindfulness.
Best would be to come on a 3-day retreat in Kalalgoda.
Definitely. Why not?
Report number 5, Thero and Saranai. Venerable Sir, sitting meditation 45 minutes. I could feel the sensation of in-breath and out-breath separately. After a few minutes, the breath became subtle and my mind went to some blank space. Earlier it was dark and later it turned into less dark. I could feel the sounds and thoughts occurring as if outside the blankness. I was not feeling drowsy but alert, but that blankness was there throughout the meditation. Walking meditation, 45 minutes. I could feel the sensation of each foot lifting, moving through the air and touching the sand. Later, the process of walking turned out to be kind of an automatic, continuous process. I felt each foot touching the ground as soon as the other foot rises up in a continuous process. I felt thoughts appearing and disappearing while hearing the sounds. That's all.
May I know who has written it? Yeah. So, are you into meditation for a long time, or this is how long, like, continuing your practice?
For about 10 years.
10 years, okay. For about 10 years. What are the practices you were doing?
Both Samatha and Vipassana.
Okay. So in Vipassana, what were you doing?
I was observing.
You're observing?
Yeah.
Are you typically involved with Satipatthana? Satipatthana practices, observing various feelings, observing various sensations, observing thoughts. These kind of things are you doing?
Yes.
For a long time?
Yes.
Okay. So now here, when you are into your sitting, so what did you experience?
Today, of course, Bhante, after some time, that happens frequently.
Right.
But not only that, which happens, many things happen, and this is one of the things.
Mm-hmm. What are the other things? Can you explain a little bit?
Physical clenching teeth, kind of certain physical movements in the body happens while meditating.
Right. So are they fading off or still available? Now say you sit now and body start, shaking kind of thing?
Yeah. But not today.
Not today. Okay. Right.
Today that blankness came in.
Right.
And I was dragged into that, and outside it I could feel sounds.
Right.
And thoughts appearing, and thoughts about it as well.
Right.
And when I get to know that those things are happening, I pay attention to that blankness, and I stay there for some time.
Right.
Then I don't feel any physicality in the body.
Correct. Right.
So it was kind of dream-like state.
Yeah. Here actually too much concentration. The state is good, but concentration part is too high. So how is the walking part?
While walking, I feel the sensations.
Right.
The foot touching or pressing against the sand, all that I feel.
Yeah.
Then thoughts coming, the sounds all around.
Right.
They appear, disappear. Sometimes I get carried away, then again come back to the sensation.
Right.
And then it becomes automatically, once one foot is lift, the other one touches. All that happens continuously and automatically, and I feel as if I have nothing to do. Even in meditation, when the mind, I feel as if I don't have anything to keep the mind, and it all happening.
Correct. So basically now, rather than even watching the sensations, probably in walking, just do a kind of a relaxed walking. And you don't need to even put to the sensation. You can simply observe the mind, how thoughts coming and going. And are you experiencing kind of absence of thoughts during walking? Okay. Just try to dwell in that. So you don't need to now put into the object. So you can now maintain your attention without any object. There are, we can say, different types of different levels of meditation in Vipassana. One stage, or the first stage, is very much involved with various phenomena. So if you like, you can call it as object-oriented meditation. So in programming also we have object-oriented. So in meditation also we have object-oriented meditation. So something like that. So certain objects are there, various phenomena are there, you are observing them and how they are behaving, all these things are there. And once you are the mind being educated, have fair amount of wisdom, mind lets go of all these things, and then mind come to a kind of objectless meditation. Where there is mind doesn't need an object. It simply can have sort of a relaxed awareness. Now you can try to dwell in that. So the first part of the meditation, that object-oriented part, helps you to come to the second level. And once you are there, you should not push back to the previous level. So you have to try to dwell in this level now. So this is another area of the mind, another, say, experience of the mind. So now it's a very relaxed. So Buddha very beautifully explained, he mentioned all the bojjhangas. Each and every bojjhanga he mentioned, Sati sambojjhangam bhaveti viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, mossagga parinaming. Dhamma vichaya sambojjhangam bhaveti viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, mossagga parinaming. So each and every enlightenment factor, he explained that there's another way of development. You are not pushing yourself. You are not, say, tormenting yourself, okay, you should do this, you put attention here. It's not the way now. So very much a more relaxed, calm, tranquil kind of an attitude. Not kind of a driving attitude. Rather, you are more accepting, adjusting yourself, and allowing things to happen. And so that is where, so you can, that's why I mentioned, just try to experience that absence of thoughts and try to be there. Just enjoy that inner silence. So kind of a beautiful side of our, say, meditation can experience here also, rather than pushing yourself to various objects now. So therefore now, and again you need to be little careful. You have too much concentration, by the way. You need to balance this. Now what is necessary is not the concentration. What is more important is a relaxed mindfulness, kind of effortless mindfulness. So it's an ongoing process, and you are experiencing things, but not purposely, not effortfully, but rather, mindfulness is there, and you are aware. It is there. It's a kind of a birthright. It's an endowment. You are not purposely maintaining mindfulness, rather than it's available. So that way you need to forward. So you can maybe stop sitting for the time being, because it is taking you more towards the concentration side. But you can do relaxed walking. Just do relaxed walking. And simply watching the mind. Allow the mind to freely move. Don't restrain. Don't restrict. When it is moving, understand, okay, where it has gone. What are the still attachments available? What are the desires available? And then recognize how it is grasping. If grasping happens, there may be a little friction in your mind, little burden in your mind. You feel little heavy, and then let it go. And again, you relax yourself. And now you are not holding the mind. Again, assume that mind again went to something. And you recognize. The mindfulness will tell you. Again, it has gone. Again, it has grasped. Again, you feel a little burden. And recognize it, let it go, and come back. Come back, it's not coming back. You simply have to release. Release whatever the graspings, and then the mind will simply relax. So this relaxed walking is something that you need to encourage. And you can verify how mind behaves. Now say you are simply walking, looking around a little bit. And if your mind is not interested of going and grasping, so that's an indication that mind is now prefer seclusion. Viveka Nissita means that. So mind now prefers seclusion rather than getting involved with various phenomena. So that we need to verify whether mind is in this region now, in this kind of area now. You can verify that. So it's more and more relaxing kind of a meditation now you need to continue, not sit and, cross-legged and driving kind of a meditation. Yeah. So, so in that sitting, what you experience, that blankness and you being absorbed to that indicates too much concentration. Here it is not the thing necessary. What you have is mind can see anything. So mind can become very much like a pure cloth, white cloth kind of thing. Then little things you can even notice because of the clarity of the mind. So that clarity is what becomes the concentration, or we can call it as collectedness of the mind, not the concentration. See, only at the early stages we are talking of focus attention, collected, very sharp concentration. But now it is not. That is wrong. If you are trying to do that, that is wrong in a way. If you are trying to focus your attention more sharply into a particular phenomena at this level, it's harmful in a way. Yeah. Okay, I think you got the point. Okay, just relax. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
I have written one here.
You have written yours, huh?
One of.
Okay.
No, not a meditation experience. Heard through a Dhamma sermon that there are 6 characteristics in humans such as Lobha Charita, Vitakka Charita, Buddhi Charita, etc. Do you realize that you belong to one of these characters during Vipassana meditation or by just paying attention to your day-to-day activities? Please explain about these characters.
I think all are within us, so we can say, okay, most of the time I am onto this charita, so different characters. So these are available, mentioned in the Visuddhimagga. So different characters are mentioned, character traits mentioned, and in general you can say, okay, I am a vitakka charita, thinking, continuously thinking. Say I am a lustful character, more lustful thoughts, more get into attachments. So I am a lustful character. Say I am a dosa charita. I am more into anger, always getting into trouble, arguing with others, get into quarrels. I am a dosa charita. I am moha charita, more kind of more entanglements. So mind is like crowded. There's no any focus in the mind, but thinking, but no focus. Kind of a moha charita. And buddhi charita, still some amount of thinking, but penetration is possible. So different, we can't say we only have this particular character. In general, we can say, okay, I am a lustful character, I am an angry character, possible. But we all are going through all these different characters time to time during our life, during the day even. So, understanding our character is also helpful. Then we know where it is the problem. Because if we misunderstood ourselves, say, thinking that, assume that you are a lustful character and you thought that you are a angry character, and then assume that now you are practicing more loving kindness, end up with going for a marriage or something. Because underneath is the lustful character, but you misunderstood yourself as a angry character, and that's why you were practicing loving kindness, but the other side operated. So you end up with something kind of an involvement. So likewise, having some honest understanding about ourselves is something necessary. You don't need to expose that to everyone, but if you honestly understand, okay, what are my problems? What are the things constantly occupied my mind? What are typically my mind goes through? Is it on politics? Is it on, lustful thoughts? is some unnecessary or unrelated kind of thoughts, or continuously finding fault with others, getting angry all the time. So we need to honestly understand these things. It's not to expose to the others, rather kind of a honest revelation, honest introspection, so that we know, okay, these are the problems available, I need to address to these issues. So likewise, it's something good, something important to have some understanding about it. And another thing is, we have a solution. Understanding does not mean that we need to think, okay, I am a lustful character, what I am going to do now, I am in a trouble. It's not the way. Rather, we need to know, okay, I am a lustful character, doesn't matter, but I have a solution. Then you can see what are the most appropriate meditations even. Say for a lustful character, a little bit of loathsomeness of the body may be useful. And if you know you are an angry character, probably you can do a little bit of metta, very useful. So likewise, and if you understand you are a vitarka charita, too much thinking, anapanasati, pretty good. So likewise, so different character, different meditations are typically recommended. But in general, for guardian meditations, metta, asubha, marananussati, buddhanussati, so these are common to all these different characters. So doing a little bit of that would be helpful, but that is not the main thing, by the way. So you are doing this guardian meditation for a while to calm down yourself, come to a kind of relaxed state, and then you need to go to any kind of satipatthana practice. Then you can go further. And I think more and more you are into practice, you may understand more deeply about your character, and you don't need to take it serious. Everyone is going through these different characters daily. These are changing also. Sometimes we become lustful, sometimes we become angry. So that's why people first get married, then they divorce. So the changes, things are changing. Nothing to worry. That's all. So we have some more time available. So if you recognize your character, you can tell others then. Any more questions? If you have anything to add, anything to clarify, anything to discuss more?
Avasarai.
Yeah.
I just want to get advice, Bhante, on, say, if when we are looking at the sensations on the foot whilst walking, for example, there is a point where it's nothing but arising and passing. So still there's some amount of noting happening in the mind. It's arising.
Noting means just a pure observation only.
Observation, but words are also occurring.
That may fade away. Now at the beginning there may be little. Are you talking inner chatter or? Not
chatter. It's directly like arising, passing, like that.
Are you verbalizing it?
Internally, sometimes, not all the time, but I realize I am periodically, maybe to get the mind back on focus, I do verbalize it.
Are you purposely doing it or naturally happening?
Not purposely, yes. Such purposely.
Let it fade away. You may understand it's not necessary.
I do, but I'm still saying
Right, understand. No problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then when there are moments when I'm not verbalizing, it's actually, there's nothing. Like you realize there's nothing on the previous sensation to carry forward to. Correct. Or anything like that.
Correct.
What do I do next?
Next sensation.
the same thing, same repeatedly.
Interesting, right?
Yes, very. Like, okay, what next?
No,
like I'm now silent. My mind is silent. I'm observing.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. So
there.
it's a kind of an education.
Yes.
You know, I mean, still, I mean, you don't need to ask this question when it is happening naturally. But now, if I am telling, okay, this is the next event, then you may anticipate that.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. Then it will be a hindrance to you.
Right.
I mean, you might already know. I mean, we were discussing these things.
Yes.
But I mean, don't anticipate that. Don't expect it to happen. Then it may not happen. No, it's complete letting go. Into Vipassana, Buddha's teaching, if you expect, it may not happen. If you desire, if you crave, it may not happen. But if you least craving, if you least expected, you are simply allowing it to happen more naturally. And you get away from the process and you allow the process to happen by itself.
Right.
Very beautiful. It will blossom naturally.
I mean, it is a very peaceful state.
What else you need?
Continuously peaceful. Like then, I don't know, sometimes thought will come and mess it up.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough. I need a little bit this, little bit that.
Yes, okay. Just
No, I mean, thing is, if that thought comes, you can recognize that as a thought.
Yes.
That's just a thought. Because now, when the process happens by itself, assume at the beginning you have to initiate it. You have to put your attention there, you need to little bit ignite the process. Now it is happening by itself and you don't need to do much. And things are arising and passing away and mind naturally, equanimously watching it. And you don't need to put your hand.
Yes.
That's much better, no?
Yes.
So that is the place the equanimity bojjhanga going to develop.
Okay.
No, equanimity bojjhanga, the bojjhanga, you know, the upekha sambojjhanga. Upekha sambojjhanga to develop, everything has to come in line. Say mindfulness is there onto the necessary amount, you are putting Dhammavicaya, you are observing it clearly, you can see it now properly, then only the necessary amount of effort is there, not additional effort, not excess effort, not less effort, only the necessary amount of effort. And then things are happening smoothly, so you have a little bit of happiness, not too much happiness, but you know, a little bit of happiness is there. And mind relax, body relax, calm, tranquil, all these things are there. And nothing else. I mean, mind is concentrated. That's all. And you simply allow it to happen. And if you are expecting, okay, I mean, this is going on, why it didn't happen again? I mean, or why that happened again? Why that didn't happen? I mean, we are hindering the process.
Right.
We are adding unnecessary requirement to the process. Now, we are in the best possible situation now. Now allow it to happen more naturally and you simply step back and allow it to happen. Don't put your hand. So I is the problem.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I am there, so I want something to happen.
Yes.
I want to get enlightened. So till I am there, I can't get enlightened.
Yes, understood.
I mean, see how beautiful the Buddha's teaching. You know, I mean, so if I is there, I am is the one expecting something, and I am is the one destroying the process or disturbing the process. So if simply if I step back and allow it to happen naturally, then you can't make an I.
Yeah.
So you are free from I making, and process is happening very beautifully. Process is happening, and depending on its circumstances, it may evolve. You know, I mean, you can't influence.
No.
You can prepare the conditions and you allow it to happen naturally. And when it is coming to a natural maturity, things may happen. You don't know that.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.
That's
Sorry.
Yeah.
Avasarai Bhante.
Yeah.
I like to add something to the same kind of state of the mind.
Right.
And when I walk, it's actually naturally happening. I don't know anything. I just, look at the observing the sensations, and mind is very calm and all that. But sometimes mind had eloped.
Mind has?
Eloped.
Erode.
Gone away, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I know that,
Right.
but I don't know what sort of thoughts are coming. Like, sometimes it's not related at all. I really don't know how to express that.
Yeah, I mean, simply you can recognize it as kind of a restlessness of the mind.
Yeah,
For the restlessness, you don't need to be specific. If it is a specific distraction, now say you had an argument with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Say while you are in the walking and things are happening smoothly, immediately that fellow get reminded. So there's a kind of an anger, no? You can recognize, okay, it's a kind of an angry thought. So you have a kind of anger nimitta, the person, and you get deluded by that, and now a little bit of anger. So it's an anger. But here you can't have any kind of such relation. I mean, you can't recognize it's a specific person or a specific incident, but mind is simply going here and there. So this is simply restlessness. That is one part of this mohan. In the delusion.
Okay.
So you don't need to specifically have a anger or say lust or that kind of a root. But moha alone is a root.
Okay.
So it's a restlessness. So mind has the natural restlessness. Mind wants something, jumping here and there. That's his business.
But at times it's very calm. Very calm, yeah. Very calm. I know, but I can hear the noises, I know the sensations, everything. Very calm, Bhante. But at times I know there are thoughts, but I really don't know what it is.
Right. Fine. Now, I'll give a different example then. Say, while walking, are you seeing things?
But I can see the things,
right.
But I ignore them.
Okay. So, why can't you do the same thing? Same thing. So, we are simply walking, but we can see others are walking, see various things are there, but we are not giving any
attention.
Importance, no?
Yeah.
So they are there. Ditte that's it. So we are not bothered about it. So similarly, so we are continuing our practice. Some unrelated thoughts are coming. They are there. We don't need to worry too much about them. So if we put too much attention, too much value, then we get distracted.
Yeah.
So it's simply we are continuing the practice. So they are there. Viññāte viññātamattam bhavisati, that's it. We are not making any relationship with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if there is no any other question, then we can wind up the session. We can have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. then. Okay, thank you very much for participation.